What do you say to folks like that who say it's this industry is to blame for high prices?
Well, all we have to do is look back a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we had lows that we haven't seen in decades. Why was that? Well, because we were maximizing domestic production of energy. Now, obviously, we have to import right now from nations such as Russia, Venezuela, Iran, and it's driving up the cost.
What does that talk about our national security concerns when we're relying on other countries, especially countries like Iran that we really, can't really trust for our energy? How does that affect our national security?
Well, listen, just like food, right? You don't ever want to depend on other nations for your food. Same thing with energy. We've got evil, oppressive nations right now that we are at the mercy of. And, right now we have the geopolitical backdrop, Mike, of what's going on with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And we're seeing how it's constricting supply to Eastern Europe. Anybody, regardless of where you're at, philosophically or politically, you've got to be able to appreciate having that backdrop, having that play out right now. You've got to be able to appreciate how fundamentally important it is that we harvest energy right here in the United States. Now, Mike, I'm going to speak to you. We just see 3 trucks going by here. And see, that's a name on the side, Diaz. The individual that owns that company, his name is Adam Diaz. Young guy. He's younger than me, early 40s. He has over 100 employees, $50 million a year business. He works as a contractor for the natural gas industry, whether it be refuse, well pad construction, delivery of water. He's such a wonderful example. Here's a young man that took a risk, but he had this entrepreneurial drive and has been able to become so successful and employs all these people. These are wonderful jobs. Listen, here's the reality in Susquehanna County. If you can pass your urinalysis and you can get out of bed, you could easily make $75,000 a year. That's to start. You're making $100,000 in very short order. They're incredible jobs.
Talk to me about the people who have natural gas on their property. I mean, what kind of contracts are they making with Coterra, these natural gas companies? I mean, are they set for life if they own the right amount of property?
So listen, I'm going to be straightforward and honest on that. It depends on where the commodity price is. Mm-hmm. But there's a wonderful development that we have seen our natural gas prices come from a low of $1.50 per unit. Now, that's a NYMEX price, okay? That's not what everybody's getting, but it's the most accessible value that you see. You see it on CNBC and Squawk Box. That's the NYMEX price. Where now that price has come up to a new floor of $4. Now, I want people to keep in mind that just 10, 12 years ago, it was as high as $12. So we're still at historical lows. But where I'm going with this is that we've come from $1.50 to $4. People are able to make a considerable amount more money in royalty checks. And it's looking like $4 is going to be that new floor, which means these people are going to have substantial royalty checks for the foreseeable future.
If you had to wager to guess, that gentleman that we just met towards the end of that interview there with Zach and the senator, what is he pulling in for having that rig on his property, would you say, if you had to guess?
Just guesstimates, but I have enough of my constituents and people that interact with me in my office, for these people to get a check for somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000 is not uncommon. A couple of variables there. Number one, how many wellheads do they have? A lot of these well pads now, they want to minimize the earthen disruption, so they will actually drill multiple wells employing the same well pad.
That's a one-time check they're getting, or over and over?
No. So they get a monthly check based on how much of that natural resource, how much of that natural gas they've pulled out of the ground. So you times that volume by the current commodity price, and that's where your monthly valuation is derived. That's how your monthly value is derived.
How long can those wells usually last for? A couple of years, several months? What are we talking about?
These wells have a lifespan of anywhere between 30 and 50 years.
Wow.
So listen, the Dutch disease, that the other side of this argument that they want to speak of, That's not a possibility here. The value of the natural gas underfoot is stable and only increasing. But beyond that, Mike, is this. I've got two other shale plays under the Marcellus. I've got the Utica, which they're already drilling and extracting natural gas.
In New York.
And below the Utica, the Newark.
Yep.
So listen, we're talking probably 125, 150 plus years worth of natural gas underfoot here. Now listen, I'm convinced that far out, we will have developed hydrogen to the point where that's economical. I think the hydrogen is probably going to be the way of the future. But right now, for the next 25 to 50 years, natural gas is going to be the primary source of energy in our country and around the globe.
Time to unleash it.
Time to unleash it. Domestic energy. It's clean, it's accessible, and it's affordable.